I swear every time I try to clean my room, it's instantly just not clean again. Who else here on the arrow or a spectrum is just done with society? Just frustrated, just like, what the fuck, you know? So I have recently come into the realization that I'm most likely on the arrow spectrum when I previously just thought that I was on the A spectrum. That's a whole nother story. But because of that realization, I've been having a lot of other realizations in my life. And realizations specifically about society's perspective on physical intimacy. And just romance and the assumptions we have attached to romantic feelings, romance in general, romantic attraction, whatever the fuck that even is. And I've really realized how important aromanticism is for developing and expanding our understanding of what intimacy in relationships looks like, what physical intimacy can mean, and just broadening our understanding of love in general. Also, I do need to mention what romantic attraction is as a defining, like, what the defining feature of romantic attraction is, because it is a very complicated topic and thing to define, and it's kind of frustrating that one has to define what aromantic is and romantic attraction is, but essentially aromantic just means that someone experiences little to no romantic attraction towards specific people. Aromantics can still desire a romantic relationship, but they just don't feel that romantic attraction towards someone. It's nuanced. We'll get into it into another video, but as for romantic attraction, this really, all over the internet, it really seems everyone kind of has their own definition of what romance is, what romantic attraction is, and so that I really hope that we can find a definition that encapsulates as much of that as possible. But from my understanding, romantic attraction is like, literally, how does one even define it? Let me look it up. Romantic attraction can be defined as wanting to be in a romantic relationship with someone, experiencing crush symptoms towards a person, where you're experiencing fantasy and like limerence towards that person, where the ideal situation is that you do romantic things with this person, so like date and kiss and like be seen as a couple. Really, this definition feels very flawed, but this is the best that I can do right now. So from my understanding of what society has taught me and many other people, at least in terms of certain parts of the world, maybe different in other parts, but we are essentially told that we must find one person, just one, for the rest of your life, even if they die, to depend on physical intimacy with, and these certain types of intimacy are exclusive to that person. This intimacy usually comes in the form of like physical intimacy, and I don't just mean like sex things, I mean also the action of cuddling, of hand holding, of being just physically close with someone. And is that not the most bonkers statement out there? One person, out of like literal billions of people, you're expected to find one person, and if that person is gone, like, or leaves you, or they like die, then you have to then start over and find another one that can give you this form of intimacy that your friends or close loved ones are not expected to give you. And the other thing with this expectation that we're taught is that we're told that if that same kind of affection, of physical affection, is directed towards anyone else, then that is romantic. Then that is defined as romantic. You have romantic feelings for that person. You're in a romantic relationship. That's assumed. A lot of the times there's cases where, like familial physical affection can look very like similar to what you give someone that you are in a romantic partnership with. Same with friends. But I would say in general, as a general rule, you do not see close friends or family members typically publicly like cuddling with each other or holding hands in public. Holding hands, that is like, as you're walking down the street, that you are going to assume that those people are dating, that they are in a committed relationship. So there are so many assumptions attached to physical intimacy between people. And this really bothers me. What a surprise. And this, if someone is physically affectionate towards someone, I wish it was a more general consensus and understanding that just because you see that between people does not necessarily mean that they are in a romantic relationship, that they have romantic feelings towards them, that they have sexual feelings towards them. But this is often the baseline, and I catch myself assuming that constantly, because that is what I've been taught to do. That is what I've been taught to see through the lens of. Another little thing that frustrates me about this is that, I feel like I have come across people where they are just very, physically affectionate with their friends, and people kind of assume that they're dating, and when they're questioned about it and then deny that, no, we don't have feelings for each other, we're not dating, that then people then think that they're suppressing their feelings or denying their feelings or not wanting to expose themselves to the other person, even if they're being completely honest. They don't believe that that's what's going on. They think, you have feelings for each other, and it's not necessarily the case. And also the opposite of this, say if you know a couple and they're not a very physically affectionate couple for their own personal reasons, that this does not equate to them not loving each other romantically and for them being not a valid relationship, because I feel like those people can often be misjudged as they don't really love each other that much, their relationship's falling apart, yada yada, when really they just share affection in different ways, and maybe physical affection is not their priority or not their preferred method of showing that love. So really it goes for both as ends. I'm just really can we stop assuming? I think if the entire human race were to just stop assuming and they lost that power, I think much would be solved. Also probably chaos to it, but much would be solved. I think for many people, including myself, I have always, thought of myself as not a very touchy-feely person, as not a physically affectionate person, and how physical affection is something that I cater towards romantic partnerships for that it's an exclusive act that I save for romantic partners, just as sex would be exclusive to sexual partners. And that's how I've been always kind of uncomfortable with the idea of being cuddly, being physically affectionate with close friends is not my thing. I think I've always thought that, and then that I would only like that with someone that I'm romantically involved with. Have realized in recent years and months even that may not actually be the case, and that it's just the case of societal conditioning. Yay! But yeah, to explain that, the actual reasoning behind my aversion to physical affection towards people that are non-partners is that it will come across as romantic to them and to others. And it comes across as romantic to me, so then I think, oh, do I have romantic feelings for them if this is something that we're doing that I want to do? Which is a lot, if you can imagine. So as soon as I kind of had that realization of like my discomfort with, like, I remember a time years ago, and even probably in recent circumstances, where if I am so much as like touching knees with one of my close friends, even friends that I have had for years, that this instantly, that makes me uncomfortable, and I like try to not get my knees to touch them because, oh, I don't want to send the wrong message, even though it's like we have established long ago that we are platonic friends. And so in recent time, I have kind of forced myself to go out of my comfort zone, that if I happen to be touching knees or whatever with a friend, I will leave it there. Because, hey, I don't actually mind even like touching knees or being close to a friend if we both know that like the assumption isn't that it's romantic, and if that I know that this isn't romantic. It's just like the aversion completely stems from the fear of being assumed. That is what makes me so deeply uncomfortable about it, not just the fact that I'm not, like, that's not something that I don't like doing. It's like, actually, this is something that I could enjoy doing and have realized I do actually enjoy doing. But just the amount of layers of, like, assumption attached to it freaks me out, as I'm sure it does for many people. Yeah, I essentially convinced myself for years that I wasn't into being physically close with friends, when really I was just uncomfortable with it for a bigger hidden reason, which frankly, I think that is kind of messed up. And I would love to be able to change how I view that, how we view physical affection in society. Because I think as soon as we start normalizing physical touch and affection towards non-partners and even non-family members, because I know a lot of families are quite physically affectionate, more so than others, but specifically being physically affectionate to non-kin, to non-partners, to your close friends, even to like acquaintances, and for it to not be taken across as, okay, you're romantically interested in me, or, oh, this is a romantic act, when physical affection is simply a natural and healthy way of us being in this human vessel to express our love for each other, and that is across the entire love spectrum. The more our understanding for love and intimacy expands and broadens, the more it makes us realize that, like everything else, love is a spectrum. Physical affection is a spectrum. Platonic affection, platonacy, romance, romantic affection is all a fucking spectrum. One of the big things is that I really think we need to stop associating physical affection specifically, among other types of affection, but mostly physical affection. We need to stop associating that as equal to romantic affection, because that is not the case. I know that is what we've been taught, but if you really look within yourself, do you hold yourself back from giving certain types of physical affection towards people because there's fear behind that, or because you genuinely don't feel drawn to? Because I think for many people, not everyone, because I know some people really just do not like being physically close to people, even if they really love them. There's other ways that they show love. But yeah, are you truly a non-physically affectionate person? Or have you just kind of been conditioned to believe that it's that kind of affection is supposed to be for a certain type of dynamic and relationship? But yeah, if you're to take something from this video, I hope that it's the encouragement to become more comfortable being physically affectionate with everyone in our life that we wouldn't mind doing that with or want to, anyone that we're really close to, because the more that you normalize it internally with yourself, the more that it's going to be normalized externally in society. Because in the reality that we live in today, we lack that sort of intimacy, and I think everyone kind of feels like they're missing some innate human connection and need, and many of our needs are not being met just through one person. And if you do not have a partner or partners at all times, which is uncommon, which is impossible, then you're going to be lacking that intimacy. And yeah, and I just think that it's really sad that we're taking away the opportunity to fulfill our need for like physical touch just because society has conditioned us to believe that physical touch and physical affection is saved only for a specific type of dynamic where it can only be with like one person at a time. And I think that's just bonkers and ridiculous and silly, because most people know more than one person and are close with at least a few people. So why not, deepen that connection and with each other by being physically close, and just have like a more frequent and consistent and stable support system that involves connection through physical touch, because physical touch, as many scientific conclusions have come to conclude, is very healthy and very necessary for the development of human beings, and to maintain happiness and happy chemicals in our body. That's the tea on that. Please let me know if you have anything more to add to this conversation. Really, this conversation could go on forever in so many other directions, but I really just needed to let that out, let it be known, because I don't really see many videos like this online, and I'd like to change that. I would like to have more conversations about aromanticism, about the idea of aromantic relationships, queer platonic relationships, platonic dynamics, romantic dynamics, literally so many endless conversations to be had that there is not much of. So help me out and let us continue this conversation. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully there'll be another little conversation video soon. Okay, bye.